Welcome to the DevReady Podcast. Joining me on today's episode of DevReady Podcast, I have Alex Kleizinger. Thanks for joining me, Alex.
Anthony, thanks for having me here.
Well, it's a pleasure. I'd love to dive in and understand the world of B2B sales and how to make a scalable business. But before we do that, I'll let you introduce yourself properly because I'll do a terrible job.
No problem at all. Just in a nutshell, I've been in Australia for just over 12 years. By trade, I'm a navigation officer. So before I went into this sea of sales and business development area, I've been, driving the oceans around the world. Came to Australia, got my captain certificate. Decided not the career I want to pursue. So I guess without having any hard skills, I had only one way to survive on the shore. This was sales. So with no background at all, but I did end up in IT software sales. I worked for selling enterprise grade contact center solution, process automation, like really big vendors. Then moved to the managed services side. So I've been on both areas, quite interesting themes. So yeah, that's what I've been doing in the past 10 years, really specialize in IT and software sales. And that's the company we run here. We took our expertise and now we helping others scale up and grow.
It's a huge change to navigate from those waters to the new waters.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was very, very different, but it was so boring at sea. So I decided, I'll try do something else. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Was that like commercial freight or not military?
No, commercial, really container ships. I've been inspired back then, like Jack Sparrow and the Pirate of the Caribbean just came out, and I thought this was going to be my lifestyle. I'm going to be captain, and then I just figured out I'm working on a huge factory, which is hardly staying anywhere in ports, and even when you get to those ports, there's not the lifestyle I kind of depicted to myself. It was really working in a factory, continuous moving around, and not very family friendly as well. Yeah.
I can imagine if you're spending months out at sea, then yeah, you're going to have very limited time on shore, and then back at it again.
You go there, you're just a guest. I mean, your kids don't recognize you. Come up, you do give the gifts around, and yeah, this wasn't really what I wanted to do.
It's probably a hard lesson you have to go through that realize that's not what you're expecting or not what you wanted to do. So, what sort of pushed you into the sales space then?
Look, as I told you, right? I mean, first of all, I had no hard skills. All I learned is the celestial navigation, then GPS came over, and even this part is not very useful, right? So, and of course, there was GFC, Global Financial Crisis, 2008. Basically, it has a massive impact on international maritime industry. And I thought initially maybe to go into offshore fleet in Australia. This was path was shut for me, and I said, I always loved sales. I've been selling since I was a kid, had small businesses there, always was quite entrepreneurial driven, and I thought that's probably an opportunity for me to start. So I opened my business, miserably failed, and then I just started to pursue it professionally, got some training, went to, and this became a career.
Okay. So what are some of those key lessons you learned very early on when you attempted and it didn't go the way you planned?
It's just to experiment, right? I mean, there is no such thing as a failure. There's an educational experience, and as long as you approach it the right way and you keep experimenting, right, that's basically becomes a really interesting journey. So just move on, get out of your comfort zone and try something new.
Yeah, I think that's important, that if you take every opportunity to learn something from, then it's not wasted.
Absolutely.
If you repeat the same mistakes over and over, obviously not learning, and that's when you're wasting time and effort and money. Am I trying something? Is it pushing me in the right direction? No. Okay, what do I learn from this to try and nudge it back into the right direction?
Yeah, the idea is, of course, you can be very motivated and keep, trying to break the wall with your forehead, right? But sometimes you can also kind of stop for a second, ask for external advice, or even try to analyze what exactly is going on. And it's, of course, to get out of the comfort zone, but not too far. If you need, you can always get back, but, always try, play around. This is, the life is just a game.
Yeah, and try and enjoy what you're doing if you can, because it's a lot of people don't do that. They go for a job and they're just doing a job because they have to. So if you can find that thing that you enjoy, you're in a very good spot, I think.
And sometimes, you might work in the place you not quite enjoy in the beginning, but then suddenly you becoming some good in the space, right? And you get your expertise, and then you start and you learn to enjoy it. But of course, if you spend so many hours in your career, your life at work, you'd rather like it, or you'd rather get paid really, really well. So at least you know what the trade-off, right?
Of course, yeah, it has to be worth it. Otherwise, you're just giving up time for resentment. Really, you're just not happy that you're doing whatever it is that you're doing.
That's right.
So
That's right. And then you're 60, 70, 80 years old and thinking, gosh, I wasted my life. Or what we are thinking about? Why, it was a safe choice, safe game. Maybe there were circumstances as well. Sometimes it's above you and you don't have full control. But overall, yeah, you don't want to be resentful. That's the last thing you want.
yeah, of course, it makes you unhappy while it's happening, then it makes you unhappy further down the line when you're reflecting back.
And all people around you, it makes them unhappy as well. Because if you're unhappy, that's what you reflect to the external world, right?
Yeah, and then that's a problem everywhere. It's not going to help your personal life, your professional life, or the relationships around you either.
That's right. That's right. That's
So
really
after those setbacks and a couple of mistakes, where you then you moved into, you said, some like training and getting certified and learning how to sell.
Not really. In sales, you're not really certified. You just come up, get a job and say, hey, look at me, I'm an amazing salesperson. So
Okay.
the first job I landed, I was quite good in kind of self-promotion. They saw something. I was quite, old for starting a sales career, 34. But, I came over with this kind of startup mindset where I was the startup. The funny thing then happened later because I sold myself and now I need to do the job, right? And imagine me like being so many years in the merchant, how you call it, Navy, right? And they tell us, okay, so kids, what do we sell? And they tell us we sell digital platform. And you know what, UNIT stuff, it's like a digital platform. It's not it's simple, right? For me,
Yeah.
I'm kidding you not. It took me quite some platform. What do you mean? Platform, it's a thing that floats on the water. I Googled this.
Yeah,
I could, my
different frame.
I, as a parrot, I could tell to the person on the call, hey, we are the best digital platform in the contact center world. But then I was thinking, gosh, what am I saying? I don't understand, right? So I guess sometimes you fake it till you make it. There's no certifications in sales, but with the right attitude, a bit of a how to say it, thick skin and the right motivation, especially when you have no money or no other stuff. You go and you do what you do, and then then you like it. It's a bit of a game.
Yep. And you ended up enjoying it straight away? Did you have fun with the challenge?
Yeah, straight away. Because for me, it was quite interesting. We even had this conversation. Sometimes people end up in sales because this is the last resort. There's just no other choice. For me, because I was always a bit sales entrepreneurial, as I said, as I was a kid, was trying to do some business at school. I mean, back in Soviet Union, if you had anything, you could sell it, right? Because there was just nothing around you. But
Yep.
it was still fun. I really enjoyed it. I was thinking, okay, if I would be like 20, in my early career, probably I would achieve much more by this time. But I saw many people, they come up there as like they have no choice because there's so much rejection and objection going on, and you have to go out of the comfort zone in sales, right? And especially when I came to Australia 12 years ago, you can hear my accent now. I mean, you can't imagine what it was back then. It was really like hardcore, thick accent on the phone, and it's all remote sales. And
Yep.
my only luck was, people understood, something, But if my accent is quite a bit unique, it's Eastern European, so they kind of gave me respect and kind of listened, I really felt. I really struggled on this side. This was fun, learning how to pronounce things, how to use the right intonation. Still struggling, as you can see, but small steps, getting better.
No, I think you're doing well. You're no problem with the way you're talking. I make mistakes, and I was born here, so don't be too hard on yourself.
No.
So it's interesting that you took that sort of startup approach to selling yourself first. And just to bring back sort of your you found almost your Jack Sparrow moment in the sales world as opposed to on the ships.
Yeah,
So you made a
probably I
name
am
for
a
yourself.
pirate,
Yeah.
Just sell myself and just figuring out what do we do next. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I'm guessing you grow your reputation and you move up in that business. And then did you then pivot to your own business from there? Or was there another step along the way?
I mean, of course, there are always steps, right? I mean, always, as I told you, my even first attempt in Australia was to set up my business, which I was, for some reason, whenever you're an entrepreneur, right? I mean, you just have this bug in you. I felt unsuccessful. My corporate career was quite good, right? I really, regardless of all the obstacles on the way and others, I was doing pretty well. Moved very fast on the career. I mean, I changed quite a few companies because sometimes it's much easier to get a pay rise when you move from one company to another before you wait for something happens. But the few things happens for me. I got family, kids, but then the pandemic hit over, right? And then I was laid off twice. And twice, interestingly, it happened due to the acquisition. So I was working for big companies. They just announced an acquisition. They bought another smaller companies. And, I'm a sales guy. So I'm on LinkedIn. Hey, hooray, we're growing, flags everywhere, just, trying to make some expansion because we're growing. Yep. The next thing, you know what? We'd rather leave this sales team. So you go. And this happened to me twice. Like I've been in the company for 12 months, happened. 6, then I went to another company, another acquisition. Happened again, right? They just restructured, bring consultants, we changing the process and salespeople. Okay, now it's liability. We're changing it, you're not making money. Let's get others. So I went through this experience twice, have a young family and said, you know what, if I'm already doing this, maybe it's a good opportunity for me to do what I wanted. Let's up this agency, let's take my skills, help others. So it kind of was a forced, but I was thinking about this for a long time. I was really trying. It was like, it gave me an excuse to try it out. I had a few months and surprisingly or not, I had a network to tap in. And that's, I think when you start a business, first and foremost, you get some reputation, then you go to people and that's what gives you the foundation for the business. And that's what kept me pretty much a nice transition from corporate job to entrepreneurial journey, basically. Yep. It's not a private sector, but it's just doing something of my own.
It sounds, like there's more than just little steps. There's some big leaps when you then have to scramble to find out what's the next step because the previous one was taken away from you.
Sometimes when you need to, make a big, leap, like a, huge jump, someone need to come from behind and give you a big kick as well, right? So I got this kick from whatever the world came over, and that's what happened.
Yes,
yeah, now you fly.
That you needed.
Yeah. Need to have a good starting point.
What settled you into the B2B world instead of B2C? Is that just the experience that you had?
No, for me, it's kind of came over naturally, right? I've been in the B2C sales, then I went to IT, and IT because it was good money, and IT it's mostly B2B, right? Mm-hmm. But eventually, why I really started to enjoy it because it's so bloody hard, right? On one side, especially whenever you're a big company, and I work for big, huge like Gartner leaders in their space, it's a bit easier because whenever you pick up a phone, you give your name, whether it's a Salesforce, the company, HubSpot, right? Oracle. This name, it does get some attention, right? So it's a bit easier there. But then when you move to the smaller world, right? Managed service providers, IT, technology vendors, right? That no one really knows who they are. And you make this call, suddenly your name doesn't open these doors, right? And in reality, it's even so hard even to explain how you're different to others. And that's where I saw a huge opportunity because when I moved, I got quite a good training in those big organizations, moved down to smaller companies, and then I saw there is no this good structure there as big companies have the luxury to have. We have business development reps opening doors, business development manager closing those doors, account manager step in, then you have customer success, then you have the huge marketing department, and that's the life of a executive in a small company. Join in, you BDM, now, oh wow, you BDM, this is your salary, which is typically high because you come from a good background, but you know what? Go and do your magic. Now you opening the doors, closing the doors, managing account, managing vendors, filling up RFPs, and then you get all the other monkeys on your shoulders, everyone throwing at you because it's so expensive for the business, right? So, yep. and then you make a call and, no one really knows or cares who you are. So I kind of took it like B2B sales, it's nice, long sales cycles, very high value tickets, right? So if you're good in this game, that's a good reward as well. And there's so many companies around who kind of organically grew, with the founder led, but then this sales knowledge, I saw it's probably, we can come up and make some money out of this, right? And help others. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the problem with startups and founders. It's generally not a salesperson who's coming up with the idea and going out on their own and doing a business. They're either technical or non-technical, have experience in the field, starting something new, and then they just have to start wearing all the hats, like you said, opening doors, closing doors, all the different things. One person does it, or two people will do everything at the start. And then as they start scaling, it starts consuming more time, and they don't have the skills to close them properly, or their conversion rate will be low. And then that's probably where people like yourself will come in and help them bridge that gap.
But not quite, not quite often. Sometimes the organic growth goes well because you might be not a salesperson, but you're a founder. So it means you're very trustworthy, right? You understand your product from ups and downs. So as soon as someone comes to you with a problem, you're the best person to fix it, right? No one would ask questions. And the thing is, in a startup environment, typically companies grow from their networks, right, and referrals, which is going well. And that's why so many companies, they do grow to a certain level, but then they hit the ceiling, the plateau, right? And that's at this point, on one side, there's a proven business model, but because founder who is great salesperson doesn't see himself as a salesperson, can't really bring in another person, another like mercenary for hire, a sales guy, and he can't teach him, he can't explain him. He just say, look, I'm not even a salesperson, I can close it, right? What about you? You're a professional, go and do this magic, go and do what I do. But there's no process, no understanding, so much risk coming over. And that's why sometimes it flips. That's the idea of how you start to move away. Because as a business owner, at some point, you need to just, you don't need to work in the business. You need to work on the business. Means you need to have the right people, the right tools. But this journey is not quite straightforward. And many get burned. They get sales professionals, and the people might be great, but they come in, they still, they struggle a bit. Their probation finished, still didn't do nothing, right? It's the company loses so much money on the salary, lost time, lost opportunities, and the salesperson, they just move to another place with a better. That's kind of it's a bit unfair game for the business owners, right? So therefore, it's so important. You do it first by yourself. Sometimes you might get some coaching, right, to get better at conversion rate. But then you need to understand how you scale up, how you get interest leads tap beyond your network, beyond the referrals. And there's so many ways how you can do it in reality, right? You just need some help on the side.
It's just learning where to look or what to do, really, and then over time practicing to get better at your craft and being able to execute is from my experience.
That's right. It's as always. It's to be excel in any area, you need to have a good process and a good people around you, right? And if you nail these two factors, that's basically you have. I mean, of course, nice to have a good product and be in a nice niche and market and a bit of luck, right? That's also a crucial factor. But to get lucky, you need how they say the luck is when the effort meets the opportunity, right? That's where the luck is getting blended. So you need to do the right steps first.
Yeah. So what are some of those steps to set that right process up if you're looking to grow your business and be able to support more people and actually sell at the scale that you're probably expecting to?
Yeah. So it's a great question. And I guess the more consultants you speak, there will be so many variants to how to answer it. From my point of view, when you're looking to scale up, you're at a point of time where you can need external people to come and help you with growth. You need to do a few things before you get people, right? You need to review, because if before this you work with warm leads, warm introduction, people came with intention. Actually, fairly easy to close someone who knows who you are, got reference, and they have a problem. As soon as you start going to the market, being a bit more cold approach or maybe advertisement, so you need to have basic systems, CRMs, telephony, create dashboards, because whenever the salesperson comes in, you need to know what's good looks like and how to measure them. Because I don't know, Anthony, did you ever hire salespeople or not?
We have in the past, but we didn't even know what we were selling. So we did the wrong steps from the start.
The funny thing with salespeople, and probably my background proves this, salespeople just, what they're good at? Selling themselves. Like as a salesperson, everyone is a champion. Everyone is a closer. Everyone is like, they did amazing stuff. And very hard to understand whether they did it or not, no matter how rigorous is your process. So first of all, before you bring them on, you need to set up your systems, understand what the KPIs, scorecard, you need to understand what are we aiming for. Then, as you probably mentioned, right, what are we actually selling? Because you might think you sell, especially, as a founder, sometimes you become a bit more visionary, and then you sell everything. And everyone who comes, you just open arms, you do this for everyone, just bring them on, let's close them. But in reality, it's the more focused you are, the more structured your approach, your offer, the higher success, and the easier it is for the person to get in. So you need to create a bit of, offering processes, how we do it. The another thing, and that's what we do a lot. Sometimes you might jump in and you want to invest money in, high-end, top skills, BDM, all the skillers work for big companies. They come at a high cost, right? And what's funny, so whenever they come in and you expect them to go and generate their pipeline, sometimes these amazing closing skills are not the same skills, to open and make cold calling. This is actually very low entry skills. So you might start small. You might fix your pipeline, lead generation first. right? Bringing whenever the leads coming in, then you invest in really expensive resources. So you take a bit more structured, kind of step-by-step approach. You don't just come up unless you bring in VP of sales, someone who takes, that's a good strategy if you have enough money. If you operate slightly leaner, you want less risk, that's what you do. Systems, strategy, and then people, but people could be started with on a lower scale, because initially you invest a bit more. You need to understand how to manage them, even like business development reps, you need to understand sales and marketing process, and then you gradually step back. The more the process comes in, you go back, and then it starts work.
It's a problem if you bring in the people too early, because then you don't have the systems in place. There's nothing for them to do. If you're asking them to look for leads, like you said, they're probably too expensive to bring the leads versus what the return is. But it depends if sometimes you don't know where you're at or what you're trying to do, because like you said, if it's the one person founder doing everything, they know how to do what they do, but then the systems and structures have to come in place to help support that business to let them grow.
And sometimes, what I saw, sometimes small businesses, they kind of tend to approach and they say, okay, I don't have enough money for VP of sales or manager, a bit too early, but I don't want someone like new. I want to hire someone midway, maybe like 4 or 5 years business development experience. They come, they sold maybe, I don't know, again, Salesforce or something else, have experience. They come in, surely they sell us. But it's quite unrealistic to expect it's still fairly junior talent, right? Sales. They can't come up and revamp your sales process. They will come up and they will either do what they did there, but this is a very different game. If you sold Salesforce, how can you sell a managed service provider? There you sell product and features and massive marketing, and here you sell service. No matter what the product behind you, right, and no marketing, it takes a long time. It's not like they're not going to be successful. They would, but sometimes if you do that, at least you need to give a decent amount of time, prepare. What else those people, how they get this experience as well. So set them for success, right? Sometimes, so you need to combine these two things together.
Yeah, it's like you said, setting them up for success and building the process and the marketing to bring them the leads. Because I'm guessing when you're at HubSpot and a Salesforce, you're going to get all those web inquiries coming in. People are interested in the product. Try free now, and everything's book a meeting, and then that's your leads already taken care of, so you don't have to worry about it. But that's the whole marketing side.
No wonder you're champion, everyone just already they came and just, there's still some game, but how you played in this game. They come to you and they came to HubSpot and they came at Microsoft Dynamics, right? So then you start playing, you still need to play with consultancy, but there you can, you can still win if you're not that savvy salesperson. You're still good, right? A good attitude, but then what features do you need? What do they have? Position your features against these features. And sometimes you get lucky. Still, of course, you need acumen. And the more you work, the better your conversion rate. But you can, it's more forgiving environment sometimes, right? But
that makes sense. That's a good way to put it. It's a warm introduction, like you said earlier. So the people already know what they're looking for. They're interested. They're ready to buy, rather than trying to sell to people who you're convincing to purchase something that they don't know they need potentially.
Yes. So, and in overall, in all sales, in modern environment, there's still this kind of perception that salesperson should come up and pitch and throw value proposition and talk most of the time. But in reality, you really need to think about the problems your solution solves, right? And say, especially in the beginning, in the first interaction, say nothing about the features, the product, and anything else about your company. And this also takes time to teach and learn and develop those skills. But
it's not an easy thing to do if you're a founder or a small business that's running and you're working in the business. It's always you have to do it, but you don't know.
Fortunately,
Sorry?
yeah. So many things for the founder, right, Anthony? It's marketing, delivery. Then you have, if you're good at, you can do sales, but then what if you sold? Now you need to deliver. Then who is doing sales? Then you like feast or famine situation. Lots of contract. Suddenly they run away. Oh, what do I do now? And then there's so many other things to think about.
So what are the best ways for those like small businesses that are ready to take the next step, or a startup is like, all right, they've got some revenue, they know how to go. What's the process? How do you go about setting up the process and structure to bring in that support to help you now?
You hire a coach, hire a consultant, hire someone who can help you. They will save you lots of time and mistakes, right? Yes, sometimes they come with a price tag, but as always, like invest money in education rather than trying to do it by yourself. I actually, with my startup, I try to solve many problems by myself. Like as I mean, it's easier to say sometimes than to execute, and I understand it because I personally I did all my mistakes myself. I said I'm not gonna pay consultants. I know what to do, and then it took me a while, and hired people, fired people, couldn't nail recruitment, like really, I mean, and it still is, right? Till I came to the moment, like, you know what, I don't want to play these games anymore. I'd rather give someone money. They will just fast track my growth, right? I just avoid some mistakes. They will just tell me not to do it. But again, it's two ways how you look at this. When you do a mistake, at least I know for sure why this is a mistake. If someone tells you, you just avoid it, but sometimes it's hard to replicate. You know how to do it, but in a similar situation next time, you don't know exactly, if you didn't burn out, you don't quite know how painful this could be, right? And
it's that learning experience. It's going through it and then understanding. All right, that's the
either
pain,
do it
and how do I
yourself,
get around?
get involved, or pay someone else to kind of take this pain away, right? Or research, kind of see how to do sales, this is not rocket science. Like sales, as everywhere, like knowledge, it's commoditized. You open an internet, all the answers. The ChatGPT can tell you how to build a pipeline, how even to configure CRM these days. It's so easy. It just takes time, right? And whenever you're a founder, whenever you have a family and obligations, like where you take this time, right? You're just so busy in your day-to-day task, you can't even think about business, right? I mean, you don't even think about strategy, not to mention like this type of activities.
Yeah, I think it's like if you can't afford anyone, YouTube.
YouTube.
You can find a million videos on YouTube, and you'll never watch all of them. Like every day, there's more videos than you can consume, teaching you things. Finding the right people is the hard.
I'm thinking, you know what, like especially in sales, it's because there's so many coaches, right, and experts. And you know what? At the end of the day, what I found, like the good ones, they talk about the same thing. And they just they just bring different words, examples. They get appealing to different crowds. But for me, I mean, just pick up one you like. Don't watch other YouTube videos. Don't watch other books. But do by the book, right? Whatever he asks, not just read. Don't become an educational junkie. Just if you want to do cold calls, just listen to this guy. Start making those cold calls. Burn up, right? Or if you want CRM system, just do that step by step by step. Wherever it's like. But I think the good idea is like look at your business where the biggest issues are related to sales. There may be 100. What are the top priority right now? And start solving them one by one by one by one. And if you do this by yourself, you nail it, right? Again, like just narrow down your focus.
So just before we wrap up, what are some like 3 key takeaways you can say for someone that's in the middle of trying to build out a structure and a process for their sales, for their business? What are 3 key things that you could get them to focus on? I know you sort of touched on like issues there around the business, but what are the 3 key takeaways to try and build that sales process?
Look, I think the first key takeaway is, don't be shy and go and try and find this person you trust, a consultant, whether it's online or face-to-face. If you can afford a coach, like this would be ideal, right? Who can do some work for you as well. Then start with the offer. What do you sell? How do you sell? Roll out the systems before, and then bring the salespeople, right? And the salespeople, you don't need to start straight away, with the high-end tickets, top killers, top dogs in the field. You're okay to start with the lower end, right? Just fix your pipeline first. I don't know if I gave you 3 or 20, but system, strategy, people, right?
Yeah,
and find your way around this one step at a time.
All right, it's keep remembering that system, strategy, and people. If you can remember that, then build them out incrementally, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you can play with this SSP, SPS, PSS.
Come up with something that works.
This is the code. Yeah.
Oh well, Alex, it's been a pleasure to speak to you today. If anyone wants to find out more about you, how can they do that? Where can they find you?
Look, it's very easy. Just you can Google Alex Kleizinger. There's only one in the world. This is a very unique surname. Go to our website, Illicium, if you want to see what we're doing. But overall, just throw me a LinkedIn connection request. Ask a question. Always happy to help. Love startup environment. Love to share as little knowledge and wisdom as I have. But hopefully, this you will find the use of it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure someone listening would have found some nuggets there today. I've taken something away. It's the SSPM, so SSP. I won't have a problem remembering that. Alex, once again, it's been a pleasure to speak to you. Thanks for your time today.
Absolutely, likewise, and let's stay in touch. Cheers.
Thank you.